Welcome back to SportsLine, everybody. John Burton with you for the next hour, and I'm not alone. Say hello to my good friend Justin Bradford from Penalty Box Radio, a frequent guest here on the show. Justin joining us in studio tonight. Great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, glad to be back. Thanks for having me on again.
No such thing as a hockey offseason these days, right? It's kind of like the NBA and the NFL and all the major sports leagues. There's always something going on.
There absolutely is. July is probably the slowest month, but after free agency, and then August probably the dead, and then boom, right on into training camp.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to a lot with the NHL, particularly the Nashville Predators throughout the hour. Justin's going to be here with us. You can tweet him at Justin B. Bradford. You can tweet me at NC5_John Burton. And also give us a call, 737-7767. We would love your Predators calls. We're going to talk about the trade. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about prospect camp. We got a lot going on. But first, I want to clean up a couple phone calls here. We got Tiffany, who's been waiting on line one. Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, John? I just wanted to talk about that Shea Weber trade.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who knows the NHL knows that was a sweet deal for the Preds, okay? I don't watch just the Predators. I watch all the NHL games. And PKC came in the NHL shaking it. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing this kid has skills for years, okay? And I told my son at the end of the season, Shea Weber cost the Preds the playoffs. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's true, okay? Shea Weber, at the end of the season, when they in the playoffs, he just disappears, you know what I'm saying? And that's when we need him to step up, and I know it's due to, you know, the aging process and things like that. And I know Shea Weber has been a staple in Nashville. I love Shea, but PKC then is just better, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Not taking away nothing from Shea, but right. I just think the Preds got a sweet deal on this, and that's why all the Montreal fans was hot when this trade happened. They was mad because they didn't want to lose to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm happy that he's a Pred now. And just one, I want to speak one comment about Kevin Durant going to Golden State. You know,
sure.
A team that I don't like. I think they're highly overrated, but. I can't blame him for, wanting to win a championship or nothing like that. I just hope Westbrook next year goes to the Spurs and even this thing out because I don't like seeing super teams. The NBA kind of want to stack their team, and that ain't cool, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you can't blame the kid for going. Go for it. Thank you.
All right, Tiffany, thanks for the call. And we're going to obviously get your reaction to what Tiffany had to say in regards to the Shea Weber PK Subban trade. But real quick before we dive into hockey, just want to check in with Darnell on line 3. Darnell, what's up? You're on SportsLine. Darnell, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, man?
I just want to hold on. I just wanted to talk to you about the Kevin Durant situation.
Sure, real quick. What do you got?
All right. Well, I believe that Kevin Durant, man, he's just trying to get him a ring some way or somehow.
Yeah, thanks for the call. A lot of people feel that way. Sounds like Darnell's got a lot going on besides just calling SportsLine. So we thank everybody for calling in. All right, Justin, let's get into it. I mean, I was off when the trade went down, and a friend of mine texted me and said, "I'm really unhappy about this trade." And I'm like, "What trade?" I'd been out of pocket all day. It was one of those, busy days, running errands, gym, all the usual stuff that I do. So I hop on the Twitter and I see what happened. And I was shocked. My jaw hit the floor. Once you get over, and I want you to chime in on this. Once you get over the initial shock that Shea Weber, the face of the Nashville Predators, the captain, El Capitan, is gone, when you look at what you're getting in return, I think once the shock level wears off, I think a lot of people are starting to warm up to this trade. What's been your read on it so far?
They absolutely are. Tiffany made a lot of great points in there. You get younger, you get faster. Money, though, is one of those different things. And you look at Shea Weber's contract, he signed until he's 41 years old.
Yeah.
highly unlikely that he plays until he's 41 years old. Whereas PK Subban, 6 years left in his contract, he'll be just exiting his prime when his contract ends. Now, PK Subban carries a $9 million cap hit, whereas Shea Weber is 7.85, around that range cap hit. So a little bit more money for PK Subban, but you get faster, you get more offense, you get a better skating ability, and you get right into Peter Laviolette and Phil Housley's systems when it comes to the blue line with PK Subban. So overall, the trade, just in terms of quick reaction to it, A+ for David Poile for pulling the trigger.
And this couldn't have been an easy decision for David Poile. I mean, in terms of, I know, obviously, and he said this is my job. This is what I have to do. I have to improve this hockey team. I have to put us in a position to win the Stanley Cup. Obviously, they feel like they're a player or two away from making that deep run, get to the Western Conference Finals, maybe get to the Stanley Cup Final, maybe winning the Stanley Cup Final. Obviously, he felt like this was the move that had to be made, and I give David Poile a lot of credit because he had to know there was going to be a lot of pushback from a lot of fans and maybe even some people within the building over there when this move was made, no?
No, absolutely. And at his press conference when the trade happened, which basically we had 45 minutes to get to Bridgestone Arena once that happened.
Don't get me started on that.
No, but it's one of those
We're not
things.
going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, 45 minutes to get there. David Poile, Peter Laviolette have the press conference, and David Poile said that at the draft is when talk started happening with Montreal as a general manager, and that's when you know things were getting big because you throw the name Shea Weber out there. That's what got Bergevin listening in Montreal, is throwing the Shea Weber name out there. Most teams, when you really think about it, yeah, here in Nashville, people may say, well, he's regressing, he's slower, he's not passing the puck as well. But the majority of the league will still want a player like Shea Weber on their team.
Sure.
So you toss a name like that out there, and you say PK Subban, which there's history there with the organization not really liking his presence in the locker room. Obviously a huge fan favorite in Montreal, just like caller Tiffany said. But in terms of his personality, his celebrity star power, Montreal just didn't really seem to fit with that. So I think it's a great switch for both teams in terms of Montreal needs that type of leadership to where it's more stoic. They lead by example on the ice, whereas Nashville can really go to the next level with having a true hockey superstar on their team right now.
And it is a little bit different when you play in Montreal, right? I mean, the Montreal, for those that don't know, they're the Yankees. They're Notre Dame football. They're they're a lot of these. They're one of those teams where you're never as big as the team. You're never going to be as big a star. The team is the star, not you. Now PK Subban comes to Nashville, as you and I both know. It's a great city.
He loves it.
Great food, great nightlife. He's going to tear it up here. The fans are going to love him. He's a great personality. He gets it, as we say in the business. He understands that, he's got a great opportunity to play for an organization in a great city. I think he's going to be a super hit here, and I think the Predator fans are going to absolutely love this guy.
Oh, and it started right off with his press conference. For those of you that may not know what happened in his press conference, in the phone call, when we first dialed in, it was all loud French-speaking radio hosts and TV stations, and finally the Predators just cut it off and left it for local media because they weren't muting their phone. And we've all been on conference calls where when the other line doesn't mute, it gets really hard to listen, especially when it's a foreign language.
Yeah, kind of like Darnell's call a couple minutes ago.
But with PK and his call, he was in France at the time, Paris, France, having dinner when the trade call came in, and he said that the foie gras was great at the restaurant that he was at, and he even already posted a video. If you've seen it already, we're going howdy. He's ready. He's excited at the All-Star game. He's the one that put on a great show. He's always had that great personality.
He owned the red carpet at the All-Star game.
Dressed like Jaromir Jagr, put on the big wig and everything. So PK Subban's the kind of star power that Nashville really needs in terms of taking to the next level. And it's nothing against Shea Weber. He helped get the team this far. But it's one of those things you see they've only gotten past the second round. Or they've never gotten past the second round. Only past the first round twice, 3 times, and then what next? You need a change, and that's what bringing in PK Subban does. Is it brings a change in terms of just the locker room atmosphere, the chemistry, and you have to throw a wrench into things sometimes to try to fix it and not have to go through a rebuild. And they're definitely not going through a rebuild anytime soon.
Right, and Tiffany mentioned this. Shea Weber, up and down in the playoffs, definitely was not good in that Game 7 against San Jose. Had a very rough game, and Peter Laviolette wants puck-moving defensemen, guys that can join the rush, guys that can, become part of the offense as well as be sturdy on the blue line. And it just seems like PK Subban is the type of guy that Peter Laviolette covets as a defenseman, as a top-line defenseman.
Oh, he absolutely is. And you look at the point production for PK Subban in half as many games played in his career. he's already at a pace that's a quarter of a point more than Shea Weber. And you say quarter of a point, that's not much, but you look at overall, you say a quarter more points, say Shea Weber has 500, means PK Subban is going to finish with way more than that. Not the best at math, folks. but you look at a quarter more points than 500, that's a huge amount of point production. You see just a few more points in the Predators this season could have had them vying for division title instead of being in a wild card race. It could have changed the seeding in so many ways. A few more points could have made them get past San Jose. So you look at it that way, that's just some timely points from certain players could have really pushed them to the next level, and I think that's what's going to happen next season.
As we go to break, just talk a little bit about Shea Weber's legacy here with the Predators. Originally drafted in 2003, he's been the face of the franchise, you know, inside that monster contract a few years ago. He's been the guy. What is his legacy here in Nashville?
I think it's a really strong legacy because you look at it. I traveled to Kelowna where he played his junior hockey a few years ago and spoke with the coaching staff there, and they knew then that something was special. He was undrafted as a junior. Go figure. Shea Weber was undrafted in the WHL, the Western Hockey League out in British Columbia. So what he was able to do as basically a walk-on, for those of you that may not understand how junior hockey works, as a walk-on to a team, and to be able to go and get drafted, become a captain, and make that much money, and go into the playoffs with the Predators, it's huge for him. And just what he did for the city in terms of community as well with the 365 Fund, him and Pecorine, what they did for Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, it's absolutely huge. And I think when you look at legacies of athletes, a lot of it goes into the community. And while he was fairly quiet for most of the time with media, he really opened up a lot over the past couple of years. But what he did in the community as a quiet leader, and that's really what he was, leading by example on the ice, leading by example in the community with how much he meant to the community as well. I think that's really his legacy there with what he did as a face to bring them to the next level, even then as he grew up as the first homegrown captain for the Nashville Predators too, and putting on that jersey, the gold jersey with the C on it, was huge for the organization after they got past some rough times as well to get a homegrown captain in there. All of that is part of his legacy, and it's going to continue to grow as he goes on in his career.
Certainly one of the more well-respected players in the National Hockey League, Shea Weber. He leaves Nashville for Montreal. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and get Justin's thoughts on who might be the new captain for your Nashville Predators. He's Justin Bradford from Penalty Box Radio. Literally wrote the book on hockey here in Music City. More with Justin when we return. Stay with us.